Sorry.
You have started screen share alert.
Okay, well, okay, so, what I'm seeing is a dialog box that lists all the links on the page. And there's also an option, because I need to get it for myself going again. Okay.
Simple stuff word. Right. Elements list.
Right, so I'm seeing a dialog box. At the top of the dialog box, it's got a radio button group, and it currently selected is links, and it's showing me a list of all the links on the page. If I go up to that,
type, grouping, headings, radio button checked, Alt+H.
Right, now I've changed it so it's showing, and now what's happening is that this elements list is showing me a list of all the headings on the page as a tree view. So I can then go in and
tree view.
Move
level 1
down.
Heading level quote 3 of 6 level 1.
Okay, so I'm on the quote 3 of 6 heading, and I can press the enter key.
Quote heading level 2.
And it now navigates me to that part of the page. But I was going to show you landmarks. Insert F7 again.
Elements list dial. Type. Landmarks radio button checked, Alt+D.
Okay, now there's a list of landmarks, which is predefined areas of the page. Now, when I have presented to developers at WordPress conferences before and meetup groups, I often ask who uses landmarks in their code when they're building a theme, and no one puts their hands up, because hardly any developers understand what these things are. However, if I then say how many people use HTML5 sectioning elements in their pages, like header, footer, main, and nav, etc., almost everybody puts their hands up now. And the simple fact is, if you're using HTML5 sectioning elements like that, you are using landmarks. So the one that we're on at the moment, if you look here, level 0 main, I'm on the main landmark currently. If I wanted to go back to the navigation landmark,
level 1 primary menu, navigation 1 of 1.
I can select it in the tree, and then I'll press enter.
Banner landmark primary menu navigation landmark list with 6.
So that now takes me back up to the navigation landmark. You can see, and the navigation's inside the banner. So it says banner landmark primary menu navigation landmark. Okay, so those are the main ways that screen reader users will move around a page. They'll use the headings to find or they use landmarks to find the main content of the page. That's what they're going to be interested in when they first arrive at a page, especially if they're not familiar with this page. And then when they finish reading the content, or if they decide it's not for them, then they might go and find your navigation. So they might go and look for the navigation landmark, and the screen reader will move them to that part of the page. Now, I'm conscious of the time, it's 8:20. These are sort of very broad brush ways that the screen reader works. I hope this has been helpful. Conscious of the time, I'm just going to want to show you one more thing, which is the form, the
Kadence visited link. Kadence WordPress testing.
And let's move
link
down
skip
to
content. Main landmark table of contents navigation landmark list with 6 items Kadence form link.
Right, and we're on
out of list heading level 2 Kadence form.
We're on that form there. Now, if I tab into this first field.
Main landmark. Article. Name star edit has autocomplete required blank.
Okay, so focus has moved into this form field. There was a sort of a funny clicking noise, but sounded a bit like a cash register or something. That was NVDA telling me that I'm now in forms mode. So now it's changed the way that the screen reader works, and I'm now ready to input stuff into input fields. And it's telling me what this input field is for. It said name star edit. That's the type, it's basically a text box. Has autocomplete. That's a browser setting. Required. Now I've put that in there because it did say star, but not everyone maybe understands what that asterisk is for. I've actually added some extra information by hand in there so that it reads out required. And currently it's blank. if there was a previous value in there. So if I type Graham and then move to the email.
Email star edit has autocomplete required blank.
And then shift tab back up to the previous one.
Name star edit has autocomplete required selected Graham.
Okay, so it reads out the current value, which is no longer blank, but it's Graham that I've typed in there. And so this is how you interact with form fields in NVDA. So if I tab down.
Email star edit has message star edit multi-line blank.
So edit multi-line blank is how it describes a text area. Then the next one is
favorite pizza combo box margarita collapsed.
The select, but it calls it a combo box. And it's collapsed because I can, if I press the space bar, open
combo
up.
Box expanded. Margarita
Options.
list. Margarita 1 of.
Okay, and then press the down arrow key.
Fiorentina 2 of 3.
Then press the enter key.
Kadence WordPress testing document. Main landmark. Article.
Okay, so we're now the next thing that's going to get focused is that first radio button, and it will read out the label for that.
Eat-in radio button not checked 1 of 3.
Okay, but it doesn't pose the question, which also tells me that it's required. Now that's the bit where I mentioned about the field set, and legend would help there. So let's move down.
Takeaway radio, delivery, submit button.
Now it's come out of forms mode now, but we're on the submit button. Now listen what happens, because this is quite good. When I submit the form with some of the mandatory fields not filled in.
Alert, please enter email address. Alert, give us your message or we can't help you. Alert, eating options is required.
Okay.
Email star edit invalid entry has autocomplete, please enter email address blank.
So it actually has this set up so that it will actually, when you submit the form and there's error messages generated, it will read out all the error messages, and then it's on one of the fields already there, and then it reads out the email edit invalid entry has autocomplete, etc. So pretty good, really. If only this was, the field set and legend bit was correct here, I would be, really, really praising this form. There's a couple of things that need to do. I will contact Kadence again and see if I can get them to sort of like change the other, change this. It's a good form. It's a good example. So there we go. That is probably enough to whet your appetite about how screen readers work. Any questions on a screen reader whilst I've still got it running? Let me get my chat facility
Meeting
open again.
controls window. From Ellie, chat window.
Oh, Eileen, I don't know how to pronounce your name, but Eileen or Elaine or whatever, thank you so much for your comments. I'm glad to know that I've hit the spot, and it's been helpful. Thank you. All right then, if there's no questions, I'm going to close NVDA down before it drives us nuts with its voc. The default voice is very much like a Dalek. I've chosen one of the kind of voices. Obviously it's computer generated. It's literally reading out what it's there in the DOM, right? But it's reading it out in quite a nice way.
From Elaine to everyone, version. Thanks. My name is pronounced like Eleni.
Eleni.
Slightly smiling face alert.
It even reads out the smiling face as well. That's good. Like, yeah, Zoom's pretty good from an accessibility perspective, but I'm going to close down NVDA now. And if you are using NVDA and you've got the speech viewer going, use
NVDA menu, prep tools, view, speech viewer, check, Kadence WordPress testing Mozilla Firefox.
Close the speech viewer first before you try and close NVDA, because if you don't, then it doesn't always work properly.
Exit NVDA.
And those chimes at the end tell you that NVDA is no longer running. There we go. So you heard the screen reader pronounce it before you heard me pronounce it there. Okay, I think that's probably enough. Unless anyone's got any last minute questions, I probably should shut up now.
No, I haven't got any more questions. I think that was brilliant, Graham. Thank you very much.
And I've stopped sharing, so you
well,
can
I'll start sharing again then.
stuff.
I do apologise for our Zoom sharing capability.
Yeah, it's bizarre. I've not noticed it do that before with other Zooms, but there you go.
No, well, one day Andrew and I will find out what the cause of the problem is.
What the bloody hell's going on?
Right, so thank you very much, Graham. We used to take 2 hours over these meetings, and so I've tried to reduce it to an hour and a half, and we have got 2 minutes left, which I can just about go through a few things. But of course, Zoom doesn't mind if I carry on, and if you don't mind I carry on, I'm going to carry on through the end of my slides, assuming you can see something. Can you see WordPress Global Community Sponsorship? Yes, good. Right, so not only are we sponsored by redIT and 34SB, but the global community sponsors WordCamps and other things around the world. And this year they are Jetpack, WooCommerce, Bluehost, I don't know how to pronounce it, Weglot, Nexus and WordPress.com themselves. And click on that link, you can go and see that, all the details yourself. Now, these slides are available on the website wppompey.org.uk, and all those links are in the PowerPoint PDF file, which you can then click on. You don't have to type everything in. And these are the standard slides that I end up with. So thank you very much to our new members. We had a dozen or so join this month. We now got 416 members. And this is where I remembered to say that Brighton have restarted their WordPress meetup, and they're actually having one today in a pub somewhere near the Brighton station. And I think there are about 7 of them going to go, and they were going to have a social and planning meeting to find out what they can do. We have been in touch with them and said maybe we can collaborate on a certain number of different things. And I've told them what we're planning on doing over the next few months for our meetup, and maybe they can come back and tell us what they're planning on doing. They're probably going to have a physical meetup, whereas we most likely won't. Bristol, who have had 1,000 members, haven't been meeting up at all over the last couple of years, and I don't think Tunbridge Wells have been doing so either. But Graham, weren't you supposed to have given a talk at Tunbridge Wells sometime last year? Yeah,
I can't remember exactly when it was. It was quite a long time ago now. It might have been before lockdown, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I drove over there, and it must have been before COVID. I think it was the summer before COVID.
Right, so anyway, that's that. Another way of looking at that is there's a chart of how many members we've had and who's attended our meetups and so on. This year, WordCamp US has already happened, which is normal, earlier than usual, and it was a physical one. And now they're all working out to try to deliver WordPress 6.1, and today beta 1 of WordPress 6.1 is supposed to be out, and then over the next few weeks the different versions of it, until eventually on the 1st of November WordPress 6.1 will appear, with a number of different things coming in from the changes that have been made in Gutenberg.
But they're not going to include the default WebP by default thing, are they? I think
I'm not sure if it's on or off. It's a maybe not. And you can now download a plugin that will do the default WebP stuff. So if
I think most people were worried about the fact, not that supporting WebP, which is obviously a good idea, but the concept of it, whenever you upload an image, it would keep your JPEG, say, but also create a WebP image alongside it. And so people were significantly worried about how their hosting was going to size was going to start ballooning, because the WebP ones, although they can be slightly smaller than the JPEG, if you've got them both, it's actually quite a lot of extra storage required for that.
Yeah.
But I think it's been ditched as a feature that is going to be included. I think from what I've seen of the WordCamp US report, I think Matt Mullenweg was down on it, really. I think he's probably read the way that things were moving, and basically said he didn't see it as a core feature, but as one of these new
what is canonical
plugins, whatever they are.
Plugins that are developed by the community that are not part of WordPress core and unlikely to be, well, I don't know. Don't know if he's got any examples. I don't think he means Jetpack or WooCommerce or a Kismet. Oh, there you go. So if Abba was here, she might have told us something more about WordPress 6.1, but we just have to click on those links and find out for yourself. Another thing that they were planning on hoping to complete by the end of the year was to have 500 block themes in the WordPress theme repository, and they've reached 139 today. So I don't think they're quite on target for year end.
No.
Unless, of course, that chart is going up exponentially in the middle one there. There are actually 10,000 themes available from WordPress.org, which you can get. So 139 isn't a high percentage, and I didn't check. There were, say, 9 new block-based full-site editing themes created in recent weeks. How many other themes were there that were not block-based ones that were created? Been an interesting thing to see sometime in the future. So thank you very much, Graham, for front-end accessibility of Gutenberg and Gutenberg plugins. Next month, I think we're going to do a thing called local development environments. This is something that Simon Bragg of Cambridge suggested that we might have, and I believe they already had their meeting on it last month, and Scott may or may not have attended if he's there, but I thought we could have a look at it as well. Simon Bragg covered things like backups and restore, as well as local development environments. It was more to do with creating a local version of your website so that you can do things with it, to play with it. And my view of it is, how do you go about developing your plugins and or themes and or website without affecting what's actually there in production for your customer? So we can have, hopefully we'll get a number of different people to talk about their own environments rather than just me waffling on about the different things I've tried to find out about. And then in November and December, 2 other things. Maybe we can have a look at headless CMS. What's WordPress look like if you have a front end where the front end is separated from the WordPress database? Or another way of making your website faster in December, caching. Which caching plugins have you used, and which one do you think is better? And why is it better? So we can have a bun fight with caches. There's some thoughts. The dates are the 3rd Wednesday of every month. And we clash with the WordPress Edinburgh meetup, and we may also clash with Brighton unless they choose a different day. And finally, some trivia. This morning, WordPress 6 had been downloaded 91 million times. Gutenberg version is now up to version 14.1.1, and that might be the version that's going into WordPress 6.1. 60,104 plugins were available to download, and 10,000 themes, of which 139 are full-site editing themes. And of the total number of downloads ever from WordPress.org have now reached 7.4 billion, of which WordPress SEO is 466 million. And if you take the top 10 plugins together, they add up to about 50% of the total downloads. The average number of downloads, if you include those, is over 1 million downloads per plugin. In reality, when you look at a chart of plugins, you'll find that not many plugins reach 100,000. downloads themselves in total from day one through all the different versions. Right, enough of that waffle. Thank you very much again to our sponsors, redIT and 34SP, who sponsored us since December 2018. We spent some of the 34SP money at the physical meetup, which we had at Gunwharf. And a number of us went out and took some photographs, which we then published to the WordPress Photo Directory under the Creative Commons 0 license. Scott got 2 in, I got 2 in. Anyone else have a go?
I've got about 6 in now.
Oh, well done. So Scott's are in under your profile.
They're under both now.
Oh, on the testing one, was it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you've got some photographs that you don't want to, well, you're too worried about the copyright and you want someone to use it, and it's a nice photograph and it doesn't have a picture of someone's face in it, and someone might find a use for it on their website, upload it to the WordPress Photo Directory. And if someone can type a link into the chat before we shut the thing down, we can do so. So that's the end of my stuff. I'm going to stop sharing. We'll say thank you very much again to Graham, and we'll give him a nice round of applause.
Thank you.
And we hope to see you maybe in person sometime in this decade.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Right. So I'm going to stop recording this, and then we can have a chat. Which one do I press?